Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Chris Dearborn, Managing Director on Nasdaq's Market Intelligence Desk, for an update on technical levels to watch in the Nasdaq 100. We have some key earnings coming this week, Netflix and Tesla being a couple of them. Chris, it's great to see you as always. Welcome back to Trade Talks, and really starting to get in the thick of earnings season here with 7 Nasdaq 100 constituents reporting this week, and then we get a number of big names next week as well.
Right. The key kind of takeaway here is that the earnings season is kicking off. Banks are the lead. Unfortunately or unfortunately, depending on your point of view, banks not included in NASDAQ 100, but it's going to give us a good look into what they're thinking and saying. Expectations are that it's going to be, kind of like de minimis Q1 earnings, and Q2 is supposed to be a little bit negative as well. So if that does hold true, you're looking at three consecutive quarters of negative earnings growth for the NASDAQ 100, for the S&P 500, and the markets as a whole. But kind of interesting, we talked about last week on the cooling inflation side. That's a big item there, and the expectation for the Fed on interest rates. Expectations are right now at about 70% that they're going to raise another quarter point at the May meeting, the first week. But then what's interesting is that they're expecting, economists at least, that the Fed will start to loosen credit a little bit and start to cut that rate point by the end of the year. That could be very good for stocks, especially for tech, which has kind of been, believe it or not, last couple of weeks, a harbinger of safety in this market. So that's kind of interesting to see, especially on the large tech names, which, if you look back at COVID, was stocks that kind of carried us out of that negative sentiment at the beginning of that. So kind of very interesting right there. We'll see what happens. But again, it's a lower expectation for interest rates by year end that could give this market a little bit of boost. And for the NDX, we're still up 20% year to date. It's a tremendous move. We're up 4 of the 5 last weeks, even though last week we were a little flat, but we were a little bit higher. So we'll take that as a plus, right? Take any pluses that you can get anywhere along the way.
Yeah, I guess we have to factor in too just how much it was down for 2022. So even though that number sounds like a lot for the first 3 months of the year, which is encouraging, we still have some makeup that we have to do there. So with that said, Chris, let's take a look at your first chart and give us some fresh levels to watch on the Nasdaq 100.
Right. The index is kind of interesting here. We're trading right now at 13,050, kind of right where we opened up, 13,053. It's kind of a pivotal point right here. Support in the index is slightly lower at 12,985 than 12,900. The resistance area is kind of tight right here. If we can get a positive opening, and a positive, I mean above the opening price of today, not above where we closed on Friday, that'll be very bullish for the chart. So at 13,053, we get a 13,060 number. That's going to be very good. The index has been rallying over the last hour, so we'll see what happens. Resistance is going to be at 13,100, 13,200. Note the RSI at the bottom of the chart. It's trading at a high 50 handle, which means there's still room to run to the upside. Remember, 70 is overbought, so we're not quite there yet. It's kind of interesting. The trading range is really 12,985, 13,075. So any move above or below that area on a closing basis will be significant for the chart in the very near term.
And how about if we take a look at the individual constituents?
So there's a lot going on in the market today. The big boys are kind of mixed. The breadth is turned positive now. It's 65-35. Earlier today was 50-50. So again, the heavyweights are on the negative side for the most part, with Alphabet, Netflix, all negative today. Moderna's down on some news, 8%. So, but on the flip side of things, you've got Enphase up over 7% on analyst news. WBD is having a strong day, up almost 5%, followed by Datadog and JD. So really kind of a mixed breadth. But again, the heavyweights are more on the negative side. That's why we see the negative move in the index so far today.
All right, Chris, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.